Morning folks, it's Steve here from Blair, and today I'm going to talk to you about knife law and what you can and what you can't do, and try and debunk some of the myths about carrying knives and what sort of knives you can use when you're out doing bushcraft. So basically there is a Criminal Justice Act 1988 and also 1995. It is an offence for any person without lawful authority or good reason to have with him or her in a public place any article which has a blade or is sharply pointed, except for a folding pocket knife which has a cutting edge of to the blade not exceeding 3 inches. The burden of proving the lawful authority with the defendant lies with the defendant. That's with you. Okay, a knife which is capable through manufacturers to be locked open or has a fixed blade is thus deemed illegal in a public place. Defence of good reason, you have to have a good reason for it, lawful authority. If it was used for work, like if you were an outdoor instructor, religious reasons, and what is part of our national costume, i.e. wearing a skiing do and a kilt. It's quite lengthy, that one, isn't it? So we have to define what is a public place. So definition in law of a public place. It's very difficult to determine this, mainly because there's different definitions of a public place, meaning any street or road or other place to which the public have access. So basically anywhere where the public can access, parks, beaches, forests, that's a public place. Okay. You have to have reasonable grounds to be carrying that knife with you as well, and lawful. As long as it's legal and lawful, then it's okay. Okay, so there is a list. Okay, has the person got permission to use this article for this use on this land by this landowner? You have to understand that. So for example, at outdoor centres, we have the authority and we have the ability and the legality of using our knives on our sites, because that's basically what we do. I'll say, what can happen to you if you break the law concerning sharp objects? Well, the police can stop and search. The arrest procedure will inevitably follow, as this is a high profile crime. So if you're walking about the street with a bushcraft knife in your pocket and you have no reason to be carrying that knife, you can be stopped, you can be searched, you can be charged, and you can be arrested. What other reason would you be carrying a knife at that particular point? Okay, so if you've got a rucksack on your back and you happen to be going from one place to another and the police happen to stop and search you, again, as long as you have reasonable grounds and legal authority to carry that, then it should be okay. I'll give you an example. If you have a buoyancy aid on, and buoyancy aids carry knives, and you've come out of the water and you're walking along the road back up to the minibus, you could be stopped. But it's very unlikely you're going to be stopped and searched and prosecuted for that, because that knife is part of that equipment. It's for emergencies. So we have to really understand why and what we're carrying. Okay, so what can you do to stay within the law? Okay, try not to carry a knife, saw or axe at all. That's quite simple. Remember that just in case I need it is not an excuse in law. Reasonable and practicable causes to carry it, as we've said before. Ensure you have permission to carry a knife if you're on private property. Okay, that might depend differently, that will depend differently in England and Wales than it is to Scotland, depending on private land and how the law states that. Try to have proof that you needed to carry the knife. Documentation prove that you're on the way to a course, for an example. Written permission to use land for bushcraft and survival purposes, like what we do at Blair. We have a piece of land that we can use our equipment on. We have permission from the landowner to do so. Do not hide the knife under your shirt. Trying to conceal these weapons is in itself a crime, the concealment of a weapon or sharp object. If you're under 18, don't carry a knife in public at all. Use it within situ with an adult supervising, which means in place with an adult. Use a knife that is relevant to the activity to which you carry it out. Okay, a machete is not great things to take on a fishing trip. It has to be justifiable and legal. Okay, so please remember that. When you're using the knives in particular, you have to make sure they are for that particular purpose. That's quite lengthy. So the two things you have to remember: Criminal Justice Act 1988, Section 1391, Criminal Law Consolidation Scotland Act 1995. That's the first one. The second one is Offensive Weapons Act 1996, prohibited the sale of knives to the under 16-year-olds. Okay, so you have to remember your age as well. You have no right to buy or purchase a knife under the age of 16. It's a bit lengthy, it's a bit boring at times. However, it's really, really important you know the law. Okay, hope that's been helpful. Cheers.